What's your name, son?
Mike.
Mike what?
Mike Tyson.
In 1986, HBO Sports joined forces with the man who would change the face of heavyweight boxing.
I don't believe there's ever been a fighter who has reached this prominence this quickly in the history of boxing.
There was electricity when this man walked in the room.
In 1994, HBO Pictures began a movie about the man behind that face.
We had this tryout for the Mike Tyson part. Everyone from my wife down to the priest tells me I look like him.
And when, the announcer says,
"The undefeated heavyweight champion of the world, Iron
Tyson! And you look at that man who plays Mike Tyson, you have to believe it.
But the character of the man was elusive.
Don't ever let anyone know your real intentions. Champion fighters are champion liars.
A hot dog vendor would tell me Tyson came to my stand and he put mustard on like this, and he's very artistic.
Whatever I do, it's gonna be my decision. I don't like press. I don't like media. I don't like when everybody comes and they bother me, give me a hard time. See, you guys should record this because this makes it seem like I'm not prejudiced or nothing. If I was offered to fight Mike Tyson, I would tell the promoter to fight him.
When you ask him, what he's thinking is in the boxing ring, but when you hear someone say, I just imagine my fist going through this person's skull, well, to me, that's cause for some type of concern somewhere.
And I think that's kind of what's interesting about this piece is this is what the guy was trained to do from a very young age, is to unleash his rage. And it doesn't seem like he got a lot of training in how to release it.
Iron Mike Tyson, one of the most recognizable sports figures of our time, and one of the most dramatic. His rise, fall, and anticipated second coming are the stuff of any screenwriter's dreams. But this is not Rocky.
Hello, I'm Mike Tyson.
Here in Personal Stories, rare footage and HBO's exclusive fights is a behind-the-scenes look at the man and the HBO original movie.
Just because you know that this is in an arena.
Mike Tyson, 15 years old, facing his first major fight, is terrified. He is terrified of failing himself and his beloved mentor, Cus D'Amato.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Tyson, everybody likes me.
Yeah, everyone likes you now. That's right, you have reason to be proud. Just always remember this, don't let your feelings get the better of you. Don't let things mix you up, that's all.
Tyson will go on to score his first knockout.
Let's go get ready for a fight, come on.
In 8 seconds. The movie makers started with one clear aim in mind.
What we've tried to do is make the most honest portrayal of Mike Tyson's life as we possibly could.
You should look damn dangerous, otherwise it doesn't work.
To make this kind of movie,
Hey, Cus, 8-second knockout, the first round.
8 seconds?
required months of careful research. Interviews with key figures help to authenticate details like this.
Left, right, left. Just like that. Then you continue on.
Yeah.
Then once you got it done, you just keep doing it. And you can bend, come up, slipping.
Yeah, and I see how he goes like this. He's
right. There you go.
Then, an exceptional cast was assembled. George C. Scott as the legendary trainer Cus D'Amato.
I had been a boxing fan all my life. Once I did read the script, I thought it was a part that would be challenging to play.
The Cosby Show's Malcolm Jamal Warner as Tyson's best friend, Rory Holloway.
I'm totally into the jolt factor of people being able to watch this and say, well, that's not Theo.
Paul Winfield as boxing promoter Don King.
Well, it's a far cry from Dr. King, but I think I've got almost all the K's covered now. So.
And after a seemingly endless search, this surprising young man took on the starring role. Together with director Uli Edel, these actors set out on a voyage of discovery. What drives a lost boy to become a champion? What causes a champion to self-destruct? Who is Mike Tyson? One of the most anticipated fights in Tyson's career, Spinks was ranked as a prime contender. Both men stood to make millions from this fight. The celebrity-studded audience had paid top dollar for their seats, but they wouldn't sit very long. This heavyweight title bout lasted all of 93 seconds.
Tyson along the ropes doing damage. Michael Spinks has to keep moving because every shot... Uppercut landed inside and Spinks went down. It was the left uppercut.
I was surprised there was a body shot that put him to the canvas.
And that is the first time Michael Spinks has ever been down in a professional fight.
And he's down again and in serious trouble. A right hand right on the chin.
6, 7, 8. He's not going to make it. It's all over.
Might as well start with the obvious. 41 wins, 1 loss. The images linger of fights measured in seconds, of powerful men crumbling to the canvas, opponents who didn't even want to be in the ring. The belt strapped on the youngest heavyweight champion ever, the shortest heavyweight title fight ever, the alphabet soup of boxing titles unified, finally spelling out one word: power. Raw, devastating power. But those images do not tell the whole story.
People love to talk about the Tyson power, but this man had the best defensive skills of any heavyweight I've ever seen, the fastest hands of any heavyweight I've ever seen.
He's a very interesting, complex guy. Sports writers hold the guy in great reverence, Tyson, because of his knowledge, his encyclopedic knowledge of boxing.
Jim Jacobs, his manager, had a great film library. He studied every fighter that there was film of.
I am a boxing historian. When I first came, I was always interested in looking at the old-time, real old-time fighters. I always look and see what made them the legendary fighters that they were. And some of them wasn't a technique fighter, but they just had so much desire and the will to win, and it was impossible to beat them.
When two men step into a ring, one and only one deserves to win. When you step in the ring, you gotta know you deserve to win. You gotta know destiny owes you victory because you trained harder than your opponent. You sparred harder, you ran farther, and you got up earlier.
No one wants to get up at 4 and run when it's pitch dark. It has to be done. And the only reason I do it so early is because I believe that the other guy isn't doing it, and that it gives me a little edge.
If you're making a movie as accurate as possible about a unique human being, how in the world do you find another Mike Tyson?
I want to be like Mike.
People wouldn't want to be in my shoes. They really think so because they say, wow, I can make money, I can get rich. But if they had to go through some of the things I had to go through, I think they would cry.
What's your name?
Mike Tyson.
I fight just like Mike, or maybe better.
It's like a big apple tree. Every apple's gonna be there, but only one's gonna get picked.
Any people look like Mike Tyson to you?
4.
Really, what about the rest of the people?
Hope springs eternal.
While no one would mistake Mike Tyson for Scarlett O'Hara, the search took on the same epic proportions. Casting calls went out across the country. More than 1,000 hopefuls auditioned. Finally,
I present to you our Mike Tyson, Michael White.
It came down to talent. And a young man with a hauntingly similar story.
We're both these children in men's bodies, basically. I was about this size at about the age of 14. I was a world champion in karate and just revered for what I can do with my fists and what have you. People want to accept you for what you provide for them.
The second big challenge of this movie, to find not only a good actor, he also has to be convincing in the ring.
It's very tough to recreate a man's style.
I thought that it was impossible to get the fundamentals of Mike Tyson.
It was a big challenge, but he does them so well, it's scary.
And when I walked in and I saw him moving and throwing punches exactly like Mike Tyson. I was so happy and so surprised.
One of the reasons was Jimmy Nickerson, the award-winning fight choreographer for Rocky and Raging Bull.
Once you went here, the first thing I did was got a trainer. He laid the foundation with Michael.
Champion trainer Joe Goosen worked Michael White for 6 weeks.
I came in and then built the rest of the house around it, if you will. So this is a good analogy here.
Marker!
In Michael White, an actor's intensity and an athlete's power became very much the real thing.
This is almost like being with Tyson. It's very, very similar. I just wouldn't want him to hit me.
One more element was needed, the roar of a real fight crowd. Once again, HBO Pictures and HBO Sports collaborated. Film cameras rolled during the HBO title fights of Sweet Pea Whitaker and Roy Jones Jr.
Here we go now. You've had your instructions in the dressing room. You protect yourself at all times. Let's get it on. Come on.
To recreate history is always interests me. I think we've served history well with this one.
That was a right to the body and an uppercut to the head, and Burbick is down. This one is going to be over, I believe. It's over. That's all, and we have a new era in boxing.
6 years earlier, Mike Tyson was just another 13-year-old kid in reform school, already with a record of 38 arrests. One man was about to change the course of his life.
Customato himself said he saw as a spark.
I fan the spark until it becomes a flame. I feed the flame until it becomes a fire. Then I feed the fire until it becomes a roaring blaze. That's what I have to do.
And that's what the movie also tries to focus on. The relationship, this father-son relationship of Customato and Mike Tyson.
We'll go through like an hour, we talk about the old fighters or something, and then we go through another hour, we talk about girls. It was just like my big brother of my father talking about my father. He said, you could be the champ, even at a young age. And I believed in Mike. I developed that kind of confidence in him. And we just made it, that was the destiny.
Cuz saw possibly a future heavyweight champ when he saw this 12 going on 13-year-old. And in all honesty, he saw a chance to get another champion before he checked out of here.
And you should see it in the movie. I mean, when you see Georgie Scott walking on the screen, you really think it's a reincarnation of Customato himself.
And what deep actor's alchemy made this transformation?
Easy. It was easy. Just shave the head, leave a little bald man, and do the eyebrows. And my makeup man, Del Acevedo, whom I've been with for 28 years, didn't have any problems with that at all.
He has succeeded when he becomes champion. I have succeeded when I made him independent of me. That he doesn't need me anymore.
And he's discussed times that he wasn't feeling well and he doesn't think he's going to be around. But he said no matter what, the job must go on.
I think the loss of D'Amato was a tragedy for him. You must remember he was very young when D'Amato got him and adopted him and brought him along. How many of us can lose an influence like that when we're that age and not have detrimental effects from it?
What's the difference between a hero and a coward?
They're the same. I mean, they feel the same.
Inside, they're both exactly alike.
In other words, the hero feels just as frightened as the coward.
Both scared of dying or getting hurt.
That's what he does that makes him a hero.
That's what the other guy doesn't do.
That makes him a coward.
Everything he told me, mostly about success in general, and he's right. One day so many people are going to know you, you're going to wish no one knew you. And again, he's right. They always want something. They want to find a way to get your money. It's always people just as hard as you work in a gym, there's people working that hard to separate you from your money.
When you allow yourself to be at the mercy of everyone else's vision of what you should be, that's dangerous.
Once you're in a position where you can have whatever it is you want, where you want to test the boundaries of what it is you can have. So if you can look on television and say, okay, I want that woman right there, and get her, well, then that's just a testament to how much juice you have.
Actress Kristen Wilson was cast as Robin Gibbons.
It's a lot of fun to play the real femme fatale, you know. It's exciting.
As the filming progressed, she found herself in sympathy with her character.
You are my queen.
I think they really cared about each other, and I think that they were on a roller coaster, and it took them almost to the point where they didn't have control over it.
What's it been like since this roller coaster life?
It's been torture, Barbara. It's been pure hell.
His embattled marriage was over in a matter of months. Everything around Mike Tyson was changing. One change was big in every sense of the word.
This is about 60% of my interpretation of Don King, and then if I put the glasses on, that's about the other 40%. So all I have to do is just show up. You're a smart businessman, and smart businessmen don't go around throwing away $3 million without good reason. Maybe I feel sorry for you. And maybe you're afraid your champ will see the light and come work for me. It should be the Don King story, actually, but they won't listen to me. Do you trust Satan? Satan? Caton. Oh, no. Did I say Satan? I meant Caton. But the question still stands. Do you trust him?
Rory Holloway, a longtime Tyson friend, also became a member of Team Tyson. Malcolm Jamal Warner explains how that works in the film.
With Rory, we have Mike's best friend, and really the one constant in Mike's life. But I think what happens is once you're in a situation where your sole source of income is your buddy here, the dynamics of the friendship changes.
It's a little harder to discipline somebody after they've made $80 million than it is when they're under your guidance and they haven't done that professionally yet.
For Mike Tyson, for Team Tyson, the high life came down to earth in Japan.
What are we about to see? Another 90-second annihilation of an ill-prepared opponent?
When he was doing things right, he was a beautiful fighter because he took power and fury and ferociousness and made it look good.
Anytime I don't want to be champion of the world no more, only thing I have to do is not train. And maybe I get by a fight or two, but eventually I'm going to do it and someone's going to beat me.
It's like art. You say, gee, you'd hate to see a beautiful picture messed up.
All of us that knew Mike and hung out with Mike, with the Buster Douglas fight, I think we all kind of saw it coming because he was always at all the parties.
It appears that Tyson is virtually a one-eyed fighter at this point.
A desperate one-eyed fighter. Rolling willingly just to try to get in the shot that will finish things in
the uppercut.
What an uppercut by Douglas, and down goes Tyson.
It's over. It's over.
Mike Tyson has been knocked out. Let's go ahead and call it the biggest upset in the history of heavyweight championship fights. Say it now, gentlemen. James Buster Douglas, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
I would never give interviews or anything, or else be on television.
I hope that people can see Mike Tyson as a person instead of the American pit bull.
Okay. I'm going to ask you the question one more time. It may have been distracting. Okay.
We got to get him out of here. I was going to say, this guy talks too loud, right? Does he breathe heavy? Does he breathe heavy? This guy talks too much.
That's what I'm really trying to bring out. And I know I have to, chip through at a lot of layers of what people perceive this person to be.
It's a little bit of insight understanding what power does and what being spoiled does and what this kind of life can be.
After the long months of research, casting, training, and production, everything comes together.
You know what this is about.
She was coming after me, Teddy.
Came after you.
Yeah, but he said something like that. This is it's like a slap in your face. She's coming after me.
If you ever disrespect anyone in my family again, I will kill you.
It's actually good. I love it.
You want me to say that line? Don't you want me to be scared?
I'll do my damnedest. Do you doubt me?
You still want to smear, plays a big guy. I have to believe from the very beginning you could shoot him.
Now, a film is complete. An intimate and unflinching portrait of a champion. A flawed hero, a boy, a man.
Will the defendant please rise for the verdict?
Tyson, an HBO original movie.